Now I'm going to do this experiment with a little more detail because I got people trying to tell me it's a low pressure system. And I'd ask you, if it's a low pressure system, are we not taught that there's a low pressure system above our heads at high altitude? And it does not suck air at sea level up to it. It doesn't do that. So why would you even put forth a low pressure system when there's one above our heads? You can experience it at the top of Mount St. Helens, thinner air, and it does not suck air at lower altitudes from sea level upwards. Now what I'm doing here with this bottle, right here, from here to here, it's filled with air. When I push it down, the air from here moves as one fluid body out. Okay, and I'll show you. When I do this, when I go down, when I do that, the air from here is expelled out as one body all together. And it stops right here. The whole 6 inches of air, when I press it down from here to here, it goes out, and then it's here. The air that I expelled is there. And when I release it, it'll go back in. But to prove it's not the outside air pressure doing it on its own accord, I will expel the air, 99%, it moves in one fluid motion, and move it away from the air that just was expelled from it, and put it here, where it sucks on its own accord, and affixes itself to my arm. Okay? It's not the outside air pressure that goes right in front of this bottle, 6 inches. From here to here, it goes out. When I do it in one fluid motion, it is removed from the bottle. I do that, and then all that air, 6 inches worth of air, is right here in front of the bottle. And if I release the contained environment, it'll suck it back in. But that, I will prove that it's not the air pressure outside on its own accord going back into the contained environment. And I'll do it this way. I'll remove the air and then move it away from the 6 inches of air that I just expelled from it and put it here. No outside pressure is doing that. It's from within the bottle and the vacuum chamber I create. You hear that? It's not a low pressure system. Because low pressure systems are above our head. If you go to the top of Mount St. Helens, or 60, 70,000 feet in the air, yes, it gets thinner, the air, but it's still there. It's not a vacuum. You can still go there and breathe. Okay? And the low pressure system above our heads does not suck up the air beneath it. At sea level, it is not sucked upwards into the low pressure system. So what kind of IQ would prompt someone to say, oh, that's a low pressure system you're doing? Are you saying they suck? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying a vacuum does. We are taught that a vacuum does nothing. And that's untrue. The vacuum, when you create a vacuum, you can only do so in a contained environment. Vacuums exist nowhere on the earth in a natural setting. Nature abhors a vacuum. We have to create a vacuum within a chamber or contained environment. And once contained, the vacuum cannot expand. Yet we are taught that outer space is an infinite and expanding vacuum. That is a lie. It cannot be demonstrated, and 99.9% of the time, if it cannot be demonstrated, it is not correct. It is a lie. We are taught these lies about vacuums because they know, if you knew the truth, outer space would fall apart. That we would not have any gaseous atmosphere with oxygen on the earth. The infinite and expanding vacuum of space would consume it and suck it away. So they teach you lies about a vacuum. Okay? And that's as simple as that. I'm going to expel the air from this bottle. And when I do so, when I squeeze it together, the air from here and here will be expelled in one uniform body out. And it'll exist right here in front of the bottle. And it is not the outside air pressure recognizing there's a vacuum in here and pushing in. I create the vacuum, expel the air in one fluid motion, put it here, and it sucks. Any fool can feel it. If you could see through this bottle, you'd see my skin up in there curved. Okay, that's suction from a vacuum. Face reality or get off my channel. I don't need people impersonating other people or people that I had to mute because they would not get off the bullshit. I told this other guy, hitchhiker, Ricky, whoever you are, not to keep coming with a low pressure system. I never said that's what this was. It is not. It is a vacuum. When you have a suction cup, well, that people's grandmothers would have fixed stuff to their glass window, they would get the suction cup and push it against the glass. That would expel the air and create a vacuum, and that's what would suck it to the window and affix it. Okay, vacuums do suck. And that's all there is to it. And we could never, the earth itself, could never exist within a vacuum. All the air and gaseous atmosphere would be dispersed immediately into the available content of outer space. We wouldn't be here. You have to face these facts. You tell me you're going to believe a theory over a demonstratable fact? Vacuums cannot be, they do not exist anywhere in nature on their own accord. We have to make them. And we cannot make a vacuum unless it's in a contained environment. A vacuum chamber or a bottle or some means to expel the air. That's why when you put water in a vacuum chamber, it appears to bubble. When you put a plastic toy in a vacuum, it will expand. That's because it's being pulled on. Fools! Give me a break.